Now that we've got the profile drawn, we're going to pick back up in our training guide on page 1-20, where we actually designed the centerline profile, or the proposed profile. I want to keep in mind that we're doing a road that's joining to another road at both ends, and also it's got a building that it is pulling up into for our tower, and we want to kind of make sure that we hit certain elevations and such. Now, to get started, we're going to get back into our design file, and I've got two views open up, and I'm going to plot, zoom into the profile in view 2, and I'm going to look at the plan in view 1. So I've got the two views open right now. I also have the modeler open. If I want to see contours, I can see that. And I can access information that I might need in the modeler as well, like elevation data. So now that I've got that information set up, I'm going to go ahead and go to Civil, Geometry, Active Chain Control. And what this will allow me to do is it comes up, it's a toolbar, and I can select the chain, and I can see that on the profile cell status icon it has a green profile. That means it sees this profile cell. And then I've got a cross section one that's grayed out, so there are no cross sections. And what I want to do is I have 8 buttons here on the right. I'm going to right click on the button 1 and set it to plan. I'm going to right click on button 2 and set it to profile. And what I've just done is I've synced up the view 2 and profile, and view 1 is plan. And I can see as I move my cursor in view 2, it locks onto the chain in view 1, and as I move my cursor in view 1, it locks onto the chain in view 2. So here I'm going to go ahead and dock that back and kind of set up my view like that, and so we can see what we're doing. Now once I have that set up, I'm going to go ahead and access my tools that I want to use to draw the profile. And under Civil, Profiles, I have two set of tools to design profiles. I've got Layout Profiles VPI based, Layout Profiles component based. And I'll bring those up. On my active chain tool frame, I also have a curved linear coordinates icon. I'll click on that and bring that up. And that gives me coordinate information both in profile, station elevation, and in plan, station offset. Now the draw profile tools that came up, I've got a set of line tools to place profile tangent grades and stuff like that, and I've got curve tools to place vertical curve information. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start with the line tools first. Now I'm going to work on my profile. Now on my profile, I'm assuming that the end of the profile ties to the main road. So when I place my profile, I'm going to go ahead and place a line, and I'm going to make sure that I snap right to the end there. Now these tools, the place line tool and the subsequent place line tools there, they have tool settings associated with them. So as I can place this information at a certain slope and length. So for example, I want to maintain a cross slope coming off of the main road at -2%. So I toggle on slope, lock in -2, and now I've got a 2% slope coming out. So maybe as I work my way up into the intersection and up into the entrance road, coming off of the edge there, maybe I want to extend that out, that 2% slope, for some distance. So for example, 40 feet. So now I can see that no matter where I move my cursor, the line's locked at 40 feet. So I data point, and it leaves the line there. So that's a way of locking things in. So for example, I'll unlock those and I'll switch back to the other end. So that's where the roadway comes back around, and I'm now back up at the top. Now I'll draw a line again, this time from the end point, but this time I'm going to work my way back in to the profile, or in to the entrance road at -2, or in this case 2%. So I'm coming back this way. And again, same thing, I'll lock it at 40 feet. I can see on my status bar at the bottom, one solution calculated. So no matter where I move my cursor, it's got the one solution, left or right. So a data point to accept the solution. Now what about the other information? Let's say that I know my building elevation. My building elevation here is going to be 5265 something. So when we placed the building, we placed it 2 feet higher than ground. I didn't quite catch what the actual elevation is. So since I have Modeler open, I can go ahead and grab a Modeler tool, Analysis Height, from the Modeler pull-down menu, and I can say, let's check the elevation at a particular point. So I hit Start on the dialog, I move my cursor over here, and I can see that as I start to move, it's starting to read X, Y, and Z, and the Z being based off the model tower. So for example, if I snap to a point, so I'm going to, or tentative to a point, tentative to the midpoint of my 2% slope grass area out in front of the building, that gives me an elevation of 5265.847. So that tells me at that location, I'm at 5265.847 on the model surface. Well, back over here in my curved linear coordinates dialog, I can see that now the stationing is not changing because I tentative to that element, and that happens to be station 890 on my alignment. So the curved linear coordinates and the other tool kind of gave me some information that might be useful when I'm trying to place some profile information there. So for example, I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to use this information that I've been given. So I'm going to go ahead and close those. I can remember 890 and 5265, so I'll just close that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a line at station, and I want to start that line at station 8 plus 90. So what I'll do is I'll just come over here and type 890, and I've locked it in, and I'm going to lock in elevation 5265. So I lock that in. So instead of me clicking in the view to send a data point, I'm going to send the data point via the curved linear coordinates dialog, click apply, and that way I put that one point on the profile line exactly at 5265, station 890. Now maybe I want to lock a slope in, for example, so I'll say let's go 0.5% slope would be good, and I'll run that slope, let's say 220 feet. That'll get me beyond the edge of the parking lot there. And I can just repeat this process for the other side. So I'll just data point, lock in a -0.5, and we'll go 260 feet on this side, which will get me beyond the parking lot, and there we go. So you can see I've placed those elements in there. And then from then on out, I just grab the place line tool, and I can snap to the end of one line, snap to the end of the other, snap to the end of one line, snap to the end of the other, and I've placed some profile grades in there. Now that I have the tangents placed, I'm going to come back and place some curves. I have a Place Curve tool that allows me to create profile curves between two previously placed elements. So I'm going to activate that tool, and I'm going to say I want to lock in a length here of 60. And I want to zoom in on the left-hand side of my profile. And I'm going to place a curve, 60-foot length, in between these two tangents. So I select the first one, accept it, select the second one, data point to accept it. And since I've locked the length in, it's only really got one solution there. So I pull my cursor on the bottom side, data point, and it places a curve. So I can go through and place all my curves in the same manner. So for example, I'll just work left to right, go 160 length, select, accept, select, accept, pull my cursor on the high side, and I'll make a sag curve. I'll put a little 60-foot curve in front of the building. I'll put another 160-foot curve at the edge of the parking lot. And then back down at the other entrance road intersection, I'll select those two tangents. And so now I've got all the curves placed. And then finally, I want to store that into Kogo. So I hit the store. It requires Kogo to be open, so I'll go ahead and say, sure, let me open that. So I open up Kogo, minimize it, so the dialog's out of my way. Hit store, give it a name. A good name might be entrance design. Select one of the graphics I drew, accept them, accept it again, and it stores it. And I can switch back over to Kogo, and I can see that a profile has been created. So that's storing a vertical profile through kind of a drawing method. And now we'll come back to the draw profile dialog later and kind of draw it and label it up.